There are 3 essentials for having pain-free, healthy movement. Number 1, don't get hurt in the first place. Whenever you have an injury, whether it's a strained muscle, a sprained joint, a dislocated shoulder, a broken leg, you are always going to have pain, and you have to. It's essential. In response to that injury, you will have inflammation, and the whole point of inflammation is to stop you from using that body part and giving it a chance to heal. So you have to have pain. However, acute pain, it will be there for the short term, and as that inflammation gets better, as the healing process occurs, the pain should go down. And that's why if we take a scan of everyone who's watching this video, a whole load of us, a high percentage, are going to have tears in our shoulders, in the muscles, that you know nothing about, that's causing no issues at all. A lot of us are going to have disc herniations on an MRI that we know nothing about. And the majority of us are going to have some form of arthritis in our neck and back, again, that's causing us no issues. So don't sweat whatever is on a scan. We want to know about your pain and how long it's been there. But in the long term, don't worry about it. Number 2, you have to have good mobility. Now, mobility is not the same as flexibility. Flexibility is simply how far can you stretch a joint. So mobility is how far can you move a joint under control. So with my elbow, I can move it this far under control. But if you were to try and stretch it a bit further, you might get a little bit more flexibility out of it. For every joint, based on the structure and how your brain wants to use it, you're going to have to control how stiff and stable and safe a joint is with how flexible but more prone to injury it is. So if we take my elbow again, if we make it very stiff and stable, it's rock solid, that's not going to hurt. You can run against it, drop a weight on it, it's not going to budge, very safe. But if I now want to shake your hand, I can't really get to you very well now. So there's no function. So what's the point in having it so stable and safe? So what you have to do is sacrifice some of that safety and have a bit more flexibility. And that's what your brain is always trying to do with every movement, is balance how safe is the joint versus what do I actually need to get done. And so now if I have good mobility, that means the equation is in balance and I can move safely. Number 3, performance. Very simply, balance, strength, endurance. Mobility only gets you so far. So mobility allows me to stand up from a chair, walk across the room without injury. Performance allows you to stand up from a chair while carrying a child, walk to the door, put your shoes on and go for a 10k walk. Mobility only gets you so far. You have to have performance. If you think in our society, our sedentary society, are we generally going to be prone to being too stiff or too flexible? And obviously the answer is too stiff. We sit too much, right? So we get stiff in our ankles, stiff in our hips, stiff in our back. If some parts become too stiff and stable to keep the equation balanced, other areas become too flexible, more prone to injury, more prone to pain, or other areas just have to take up more workload. And that's where you get your repetitive strains, injuries and things like that. So as part of your lifestyle, you want to look and say, do I sit all day? What do I do too much of? Working at a desk for 9 hours is not balanced out by a 30-minute walk at the end of the day. Again, with that sedentary behavior, do you think performance is going to be good? No. Performance comes from repetition. So again, if you're sitting for 9 hours a day, 30-minute walk does not help you build that protective performance. And these guys are linked. So if performance is bad, when you try to do something either a bit out of the usual or longer or more intense, performance will fail, you'll start to sacrifice mobility, and when mobility is sacrificed, something will give, and then you have pain. That's where my job and other chiropractors, we want to reduce your pain, we want to improve your mobility, and we want to improve your performance to stop you just going up and down this sliding scale all day long.